Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have a special video. I'm basically going to walk you through my biggest fat loss secret. Like, this is something that, like, once I started doing, it just expedited the whole process. Like, I felt like I really managed to get to the body fat percentage that I wanted to, especially when I did this last year. And it's just the one thing that has honestly worked so fantastically for me. Not just for fat loss, but literally like a million other reasons. Your health benefits, anti-wrinkle, anti-aging, disease prevention, literally so many health benefits that come along with doing this on top of all of the fat loss that you can get from it. So I'm really excited to talk to you about it today. Obviously, this is not the only thing I do for fat loss. Like, I do a multitude of things. Like, this is not the one and only sole way of losing fat. If you've ever had an eating disorder in the past, I would highly recommend staying away from this. I'll link a video down below with like the other things that I do for fat loss basically. This is not for everyone, and that is absolutely okay. It is fasting, just so you guys know, but it isn't for everyone. And again, if it's not for you, don't worry at all. You can still lose fat, you can still make the progress, you can still do all of the things that you can do with fasting in a different way. If you have watched my part 1 of fasting, basically it's the part 1 of the ultimate guide to fasting. I go through every single thing you need to know about fasting, which ones to do, etc. This will kind of be like the follow-on from that. I'm going to take you through a 3-day fast, everything I do with it, what I drink, what I have, the teas, electrolytes, like everything you need to know, and also how fasting is different for males versus females. So yeah, so this is day 1 of fasting for me. I feel great. I haven't eaten since last night. Keeping on top of my water, electrolytes. I'm going to show you exactly what I take during a fast to minimize any of the side effects, to not feel hungry, to not feel dizzy or tired or headachy or anything like that whatsoever. I honestly breeze through it. If you actually do it right, it can be really easy. So in the next clip, here's everything that I take during a fast. If you don't drink enough water, if you don't have electrolytes, you will seriously suffer. Like, you're gonna have heart palpitations, you're just gonna not feel the best, you're gonna feel cold, there's a million things are not really gonna work out, and you'll also feel extremely tired and lethargic. And if you just have a surplus of water, but then no electrolytes in the water, that's not gonna treat you very well during the fast, because usually we do get a lot of electrolytes from food. None of this is sponsored, like this is all the stuff I actually take. It's not sponsored, it's not paid for. First of all, water. I probably have about, when I'm fasting, probably about 4 liters a day, 3 at absolute minimum. I put lemon, lime, some cucumbers. It just helps it taste nicer, and also this won't break your fast. Like, there's not enough calories in this just from, you know, having them in the water, not eating them obviously, but just having them in there. It's not enough to break your fast, so don't worry about that. But don't just drink water. So next thing would be electrolytes. I use ones from Element. It's called LMNT, Element, and this is not sponsored again at all. These are just the best ones. They have the least amount of crap in them basically. Like, the ingredients are super straightforward. They sweeten it with stevia leaf, which is much better for you than, you know, sucralose or other sweeteners. They are expensive, which is their downside. You can get still decent ones off Amazon, and they do the same job. Like, they're not going to be as good, but they're still doing the same job. They're still helping to keep you hydrated. I probably go through 2 to 3 of these a day when I'm fasting. Sometimes I'll add an extra one if I'm really feeling it, like if it's really hitting hard, I will just pop an extra one in there. Next up is probably the biggest secret of helping your fast ever. It's tea. Some people say that you shouldn't have tea or electrolytes during a fast because it technically breaks your fast, because it is technically like 2 calories, 1 calorie, but I just think, or even the electrolytes are technically 15 calories, I think. But anything under 15 calories won't just break your fast instantly. Like, your body is still in a state of autophagy. Anything above 15 calories, I would say, is dangerous territory. But don't go like picking a biscuit and be like, oh, this crumb is 15 calories. Like, that is not what I'm advising. It's just essential when it comes to things that actually help your fast. I usually have 2 different types of teas. I have, in the evening, lemon and ginger tea. I checked the ingredients as well, and this, I think it's got 2 calories per 100 milliliters, which it's fine. It's just a nice thing to have, because obviously otherwise you're just stuck with water and electrolytes. It does get a bit boring for a few days. So some ginger and lemon tea, and then the biggest thing probably ever, this will save your life, like genuinely. If you don't like black coffee, which I personally despise, I can't drink coffee black, it's disgusting, I don't know how you guys do it. But if you need like a nice little caffeine fix in the morning, I don't have the box obviously, so it's not very aesthetic, I'm sorry. It's basically green tea, like kind of like what's used in matcha. Green tea has L-theanine in it, which helps you feel calm, helps you relax, it helps you like not get like a crash, like a caffeine crash in the day. So it gives you the caffeine, gives you a ton of energy while still keeping you calm and keeping you settled. This is an absolute game changer when you're fasting, like game changer. Stops you from feeling hungry, especially on the first day, which most people find the most difficult. Those are the things I have during my fast. That is literally it. Sometimes if I'm feeling a bit dizzy or lightheaded, instead of having more electrolytes, I'll literally just eat salt. That's not for everyone. And I bet of you a lot like, I'm not doing that, Bella. Fair enough. Get some more electrolytes, but you can also just eat salt because that also keeps you hydrated. Because you don't want to like overdo it with the water without electrolytes, because that will not leave you feeling very dapper, I promise you. When you actually do get to fasting, it is very, 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 very different for us girlies. It impacts your body differently, so it's just something I wanted to quickly talk through. But on a quick note before I do, if you're someone that kind of likes just to follow a plan or kind of likes a bit more structure, and you know, it's just a lot to think about, like there's a lot to put together, I'm actually coming out with a fasting full how-to guide. Like everything you need is in there. All of the information you need is in my 2 YouTube videos, but obviously if you just want something put together that you can follow and it's all laid out for you, plans for women, plans for men, and at the end I've got a plan for literally every goal. So whether that be fat loss, health, anti-aging, like it's all there. You've got a plan linked in the description down below. It is going to be a PDF guide. Once you buy it once, you download it, it's yours forever. You have it for the rest of your life. These are some of the photos that we took today for the guide. It's actually quite fun just taking photos of water. But yeah, let's jump back into the topic. So basically, as girls, we have extremely different hormone cycles to men. Men's hormone cycles are on a 24-hour basis. Like they reset every 24 hours, which is crazy. That's why they're kind of like stable the whole month, whereas we are like up and down and up and down and swinging in roundabouts. As a girl, when you fast too close to your period, that is a major problem. We have the follicular phase, the ovulation phase, and luteal phase. Obviously in our follicular phase, that's right after we've just had our period, and this is the best time to fast. This is when your body is at its best, especially from follicular to the end of ovulation is when you should be fasting. You can do a lot more work, you can put yourself under a lot more stress, you can do a lot more heavy lifting in the gym. That's when it's best to do that, because that's when our bodies can cope with it the best. Like in the follicular phase, the first phase, we have very high estrogen, but when it gets to the luteal phase, estrogen drops well down and our progesterone goes straight up. And this is why you might experience like hormonal breakouts, you get more stressed, where we have to sleep the most. It's where our bodies just can't handle as much stress, and we're already under a huge amount of stress from our bodies. So when you fast in this phase, it's a disaster. Like, and I had to make the mistake myself in order to figure this out, because I tried to fast in my luteal phase and it was one of the worst experiences, because I felt 20 billion times worse than I have ever felt fasting before. My period was late by quite a bit, and that's very unusual for me because my period is really regular, but that just goes to show how much stress your body was under. Your body doesn't have the resources in order to keep your hormone fluctuation the same and balanced. You do not want to fast, I would say, a week to a week and a half before your period is due. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I feel a bit crazy today. And then I check my app, the app that I use to track it, and I'm like, ah, okay, my period's in a week, there we go. When you're in this phase, you actually need a lot more carbs. And that's like why we have so many cravings beforehand as well. And you actually need to keep your calories a little bit higher before your period, really, because you don't want to put that extra stress on the body. And if you are one of the girlies that are on contraception, maybe you don't really know when your period is, it's a bit more of a complex situation, because obviously your kind of entire hormonal cycle is being sort of tricked by the contraception, if that makes sense. So I guess try and follow it. If you've got contraception that has like a week off, try and follow it as much as possible to basically the week off being like your period. I've already showed you guys so many times like what I look like from fast to fast, so I'll obviously insert that here now just so you can have a look and see like day 1 versus day 3 of how my body changes throughout the fast. But I think it's kind of like a bit of a lie to show that, because really you don't really lose a crazy amount of weight in just 3 days. Obviously you do lose some weight for sure, but after I start eating again and I actually, you know, refeed and everything like that, you will go up a little bit. If you are doing it for fat loss, like that result will come over time. A lot of, you know, stuff that's in your digestive tract clears out. You're kind of expelling a lot more water, and everything that's like usually in your stomach and in your bowels and digestive system is no longer there, or like very little of it after 3 days. So obviously you're gonna look skinnier. This is a sensitive topic and I'm trying my best to like talk about it in the best and healthiest way, because this is like a health thing, and it's a very structured, thought through plan, fasting plan. This is not, let me just not eat for days on end and see how skinny I can get. No, no, no. Please, for the love of heavenly fasting, please do not do that. That is not what I'm promoting at all in this video, and if you've got that from this video, you've got the entirely complete wrong end of the stick to what I'm actually trying to promote here. If that is your mindset towards fasting, I wouldn't even bother doing it, because it's gonna be a detriment to you, and you're gonna get into a toxic cycle with it that it kills all of the benefits of fasting if you go down that route. Again, you can either purchase the plan from me or try and build your own plan, but either way you go about it, please try and do it in the best way possible with all of the advice that I'm actually giving you, and don't overdo it. That's my biggest thing with this. Do not overdo it. You can absolutely go towards your goals, achieve your body fat percentage, or whatever your fitness goals are physically, or even health. You can still achieve those goals, but it's also knowing when to pull back and when to just be like, hey, wait a minute, I don't think I'm fully like ready to take this on at the moment, and it's going to cause me more stress than pros. I've kind of been like maintaining my body weight really throughout the last 7 months or so. I was supposed to do a cut, but life got in the way. I've had other priorities, to be honest. I've just bought a house with my boyfriend, as you probably have heard me talk about non-stop, but it's definitely been like a work in progress. Like we've been really, really, really busy with that, and life just got in the way, and that's okay. Like I can always do a cut in a few months time. Like it's really not that big of a deal. And actually I don't think I'm gonna do the full 3-day fast this time around, even though I planned it for this video and I've got the pressure of almost doing it for YouTube and for the purpose of the video. Like I said, we've got so much on at the moment that I'm not fully mentally there. Not that it's difficult or anything like that, but just I feel like I can't focus on it at the moment. I think I'm actually gonna do just 2 days instead. So this is my second day. I'm on my second day now. It finishes at about 8 p.m. So I've got another 2 hours of the fast. And then I might finish it tonight, or I might end it tomorrow morning, something like that. But I'm not gonna do the full 3 days just because I have a lot on. And again, that's okay. I know that there'll be another time where I'll have a lot less stress going on. Because I feel so stressed right now, I know that adding more stress to my body, because fasting is technically quite a big stress to your body in terms of, especially if you get like more than 24 hours in, it can be quite stressful for your body. Not necessarily in a bad way, unless you're already very stressed or it's before your period. Those kind of situations, obviously it could be more of a detriment. So I like to save it for times that I can actually sort of be a bit more calm and focus on it a little bit more and not so frantic. So I think just because of that reason, I feel fine, I feel good. You can tell I'm energetic. When I'm really stressed out with a million things on my mind, I forget to drink as much water, which then give me all of the symptoms of dehydration, which we don't want to be happening while we're doing a long fast. I hope you can kind of get the gist of what I'm saying here, is that like you need to know your body well. I have every single thing that you should be eating to break your fast. Well, not every single thing, because I also can't buy, you know, a quarter of the store, but I do have my personal favorite things to break a fast. And that leads me on into a very, 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 very big point, which is refeeding syndrome. This is actually one of the dangers when it comes to fasting, but it's typically only really a danger if you're like above the 3-day mark. So say if you're fasting for 4, 5, 6, 7 days, like then day by day the risk goes a little bit higher, and if you're fasting like above probably 8 days, I would say you definitely have quite a bit more of a risk of getting refeeding syndrome than you do at like 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days, the risk of that, the chances of that are extremely slim, especially if you break your fast the right way. You've got no chance of that happening really. When you start getting into the higher days of fasting, then you do actually have to be very careful with how you break your fast, so how you come back, how you reintroduce eating, because it can be dangerous. So an actual definition here is refeeding syndrome can be defined as the potentially fatal shifts in fluids and electrolytes that may occur in malnourished patients receiving artificial feeding. Or basically someone that's just been doing a very long fast, your electrolyte balance could just be out of whack. The only cases where people have died from this really are when they've done a ridiculous fast. Like, don't quote me, but I think the guy was fasting for about 3 months and then he just went crazy with food, like literally ate ridiculous portions, like just absolutely went nuts. In that situation, of course, like he's literally in the worst category. If you fast for 3 months and then 10 McDonald's Happy Meals, you're probably not gonna have a great time. I wouldn't really say that anything above a 4-day fast is necessary at all. I would say just don't do over 4-day fast, first of all, and then that already cancels out any of the problems that you might have. I would still be careful with how you refeed, not because you're gonna like actually like, you know, but more because it's going to be uncomfortable for you, because I actually have done this. I fasted for 3 days. It was one of the first times I've ever fasted. I fasted for 3 days and then I just went crazy with food. And I did not have a good time. Nothing serious happened to me, but oh boy, my stomach was out here from like bloating and just, it was so uncomfortable. It was not great because obviously your digestive system has been like asleep for a while and you're just shocking it with, you know, especially if you're eating processed foods or food in like really high insulin spikes. It's not going to be ideal situation for you or me. It's just not going to work out. So the number 1 rule is do not just eat a massive meal. No. Number 2 rule is don't eat anything bad at all. You need to replenish your gut microbiome with good food. This is vital. Your stomach, your bacteria, your gut, your everything in here is so sensitive after doing, you know, over a 24-hour fast. It is beyond sensitive. If you have an allergic reaction to any food, if you don't tolerate food well, it will show. Like, oh boy, it will show. So we really need to introduce gentle foods back into the gut, and then this will completely eliminate any problems whatsoever. You want to make sure first that you are refeeding slowly. So that means eating a little bit on the first hour, waiting an hour, and then just eating a little bit more. And then the 3rd hour, you can have something bigger. And then the 4th hour, you can have a massive meal if you really want to. Big tip is eating the right things. Like I explained before, this is super important. No processed food, no sugar. So these are all the things that I will have to break my fast. Not all in one go, no. This is very slowly. The first thing I will have is some bone broth. This stuff is amazing. I used to think that it would be really hard to find in the UK because it's obviously more of an American thing. Very easy. Go on Amazon, there are loads of these. They are a little pricey, but like for example, this will last me months. If for some reason I forgot to order it, I don't have it, whatever, I will have some apple cider vinegar with water and literally just a tiny bit of this, guys. Not much, literally like a tablespoon in cold water or hot water or whatever you want to do. Just dilute it. Do not drink this straight. I repeat, do not drink this straight. After I either do this or I do this, one of them only, I'll wait an hour, and then you could go into what I like personally is watermelon. Super high water quantity. It's like 80% water or something, so super easy to digest, which is the main key feature here. That's why processed foods are so bad to break a fast with, because your body can't process them properly. Like, you can't digest them to the fullest or to the best extent. You want just easy things for your gut. I could have an apple and a banana. Maybe another half an hour to an hour after that, I will then just have like a meal, like a normal meal, without like too offensive things in there, like no spices, no things that like might irritate you. This is just sort of what I actually personally like to do, but there are more options out there if you're not really a bone broth gal, or if you don't like apples, for example. Like there are different things you can use. All you have to do is just Google it as well, and Google will tell you. Just be careful which websites you visit, because some of them do honestly suggest some very bizarre things that I would definitely not recommend. So just be careful with the website you're using, but you can find out all of these things like seaweed, other types of fruit. Like there are different things that you can have. So that's pretty much it. It's really not that complicated. It's quite straightforward, quite simple. It's now actually a few hours later. I have had some bone broth. I have had my first bits of food basically, and I'm about to make dinner, which is a nice juicy steak. Very excited for that. I actually got a question on my last fasting video, and someone basically said like, isn't it bad to speed up your metabolic rate because it does increase aging in some aspects? And my answer to that is yes, technically, if your metabolism is super high, it does increase your aging process. However, I feel like the fasting like benefits massively outweigh that in regards to anti-aging, because of the regenerative effects of fasting, aka when you're in autophagy and you're, you know, rebuilding those, well, you're killing off bad cells and then rebuilding them as you start eating. But that in itself outweighs massively like the slight metabolic rate increase you have. In my personal opinion, from the studies that I've read and that what I've looked at, I just think even if you are throwing in like a 3-day fast every 6 months, twice a year, I think that specifically, if you really don't want to increase your metabolism, I think that specifically will not increase your metabolism as much at all, and also still give you the anti-aging effects of autophagy every so often. So, I mean, you could do it that way if you are really scared of like the increased metabolism, but it's not like you're just going to age 10 times faster with an increased metabolism. It's like a minute, tiny difference, really. Kind of up to you what you take from that information. But just to answer that girl's question as well, because it's actually a really good question. Whoever left that comment, you know what, I applaud you. I'll pop it on the screen actually, because that is a really good question. So honestly, love the questions you guys leave me. I'll always try to answer them as best as I can. I think I pretty much covered every single question that I've had asked me now. If I haven't, if by any chance I've missed it, please do ask me on this video. I can maybe fit it in like my next video or something. So anything that I've left out, or any questions that you guys still have about fasting, or literally anything to do with like fitness, literally whatever you want to ask me, please do comment down below and I will get back to you in the next video. But it's time to cook my steak, and I will show you the steak just so you can see what I'm having tonight. So let's go. Thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Do leave a comment down below if you enjoy this kind of content, because I definitely do. Like I love like the sciencey side and like the informative side to all of this. So if you do enjoy it, please do let me know and I'll make more. But that's everything from me, and I love you guys. Bye.